Hi, today on Catherine Learns Stuff, I'm going to walk you through how to make a giant spider web for your Halloween decorations. So let's jump in. The supplies that we need to make this is pretty simple. All we need is some rope, and I recommend tent pegs. Depending on how far up you're going to go and how far out you're going to go from your house, you'll need at least 200 to 400 feet of rope. And I suggest anywhere from 6 to 8 tent pegs. When attaching the spider web to your house, you need to have some sort of a nice anchor point that you can attach to, either having some sort of molding off of the side of pillars, or if you have any hooks inside of the soffits of your house, those are good spots. But you want to make sure that it's a nice secure spot, not the edge of your siding or the edge of your eaves troughs, because that might pull it down in the wind and the weather. At the very start of making this spider web, what I like to do is just make a knot in the end of the rope so that I can hook it over my hook that I'm using. Once the knot is tied up, I'll simply throw the loop over the hook that I have in my soffits and pull the rope all the way down to the ground. Trying to keep the rope fairly taut, I'm going to use my tent pegs to push the rope into the ground and move over to the next spot on the ground to allow me to go up and down with the rope, giving me the frame of the spider web. For my spider web, I used 6 tent pegs to give me 6 main strands of my spider web. Once happy with the number of strands on my spider web, it was time to start adding the horizontal sections of my spider web. I started at the top of the web and made a knot with the rope at the very beginning point. I'm just going to point out here that this very first knot, depending on how you do it, can slide up and down the other rope. So I've actually attached it to another piece of rope from the main section of the web so that it can't go any farther than where I started. The first 3 or 4 layers of rope, I just weaved the secondary rope through the main sections of the web up and down, and then tying a knot on each side. This allowed me to get the first sections done quickly, but still gave the image of the web. As I got farther down the web, each point where the rope crossed the main sections of the web that I previously did, I made sure to tie a knot. This is really helpful when you're adding on decorations later, especially like if you want to add heavy spiders or body parts or whatever it is that you might want to add to your spider web to make it creepy. Also, having these knots tied in really helps later on when you're reinstalling this web in the following years. For example, I like to use my web year over year, and having everything tied in knots makes it easier to reassemble this and have it look like a spider web every time it comes out. Running all the rope through the main sections of the spider web took about 20 minutes. If you are more skilled at tying knots, this shouldn't take very long, and depending on the size of your web, it might take longer. By the time I finished my web, I used 400 feet of rope to make this whole spider web. And there you have it. Your giant spider web is complete. So all you need to do now is add some spiders and some other decorations so that it can look creepy. The one thing that I want to point out though is with the way that I've done this is that I can simply pull this off at the end of the season and put it right back up next year so that it's a quick install next year. It'll only take about 5 minutes instead of the 25 to 30 minutes that it took to make it the original time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.